So the Epstein files scandal keeps getting darker and darker and more disturbing, and the cover-up is probably the most pathetic and sad cover-up I think I've ever seen in my life. It is definitely amateur hour. This is Bush League stuff. Now they're coming out and saying, that's it. All right, we released everything that we got. We got nothing else, bro. I don't know what you want me to say. It is the definition of what's called a limited hangout. Do yourself a favor and look that up. Look up limited hangout. I believe there's a Wikipedia page on it, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about here. But it's this intelligence tactic where you only give a small percentage of the truth and then pretend like you gave the whole truth, and then that gets everybody to go, okay, I guess we got everything that we have here. You don't. You don't. In fact, where are all the pictures? Where are all the videos? Where's all the talk of the fact that we know Epstein's houses were bugged to the high heavens, which means you have super powerful politicians, you have presidents, you have prime ministers, you have royalty, you have billionaires, you have celebrities on camera doing god-awful things with children, okay? So, this is just, the Trump regime is collapsing under the weight of their own lies. Everybody knows it. Everybody can see it. It is getting embarrassing. Trump's average, his average when it comes to favorability now is 38%. That is historically atrocious just a year in, okay? But guys, I believe, and we're going to get to this in a second here, I believe we may have found some of the worst Epstein files. We may have found some of the worst Epstein files. But first, let me show you this. So, Epstein files, investigation suggests just 2% of data released to the public. So we were under the impression it was about 50%. And that of that 50%, it was colossally redacted. That's the sense that I got and most of you got. Well, that's wrong. Analysis by Channel 4 News has identified emails within the latest Epstein files that suggest the mountain of information released by the U.S. Department of Justice could amount to just a fraction of the total, potentially just 2% of the information that the FBI retrieved from Epstein's homes. Epstein survivors have told Channel 4 News that they believe that the Trump administration has failed to meet their request to release all the files. And it's not just their request, guys. It is now the law. The Epstein Transparency Act is in effect, and they've missed a whole bunch of deadlines already. They've illegally redacted the perpetrators and the criminals, and they've illegally released the names of some of the victims, and they're in violation of the law on a daily basis, and somebody's got to go to prison for this. Somebody's got to go down. I hope the Democrats are listening, and I hope the next time they take power, they spring into action, because the most important thing is holding these criminals accountable for what they've done. But only 2% of the actual files may have been released. That's astonishing, given what we already know, what we've already seen in the files. Guys, you've probably seen some of the segments that I've done. We've done maybe 7 or maybe 8 segments on, going through the specifics, when the Epstein emails came out, when batch 1 of the files were released, when batch 2 of the files were released. Based on what we've already seen, we have allegations of cannibalism. We have virtual confirmation of not only rape, but also torture, also murder and manslaughter. That's all in the stuff that we've seen casually being discussed in emails. But let me keep going because I want you to see this. Reuters says the following. Millions of files related to Jeffrey Epstein suggest the existence of a global criminal enterprise that carried out acts meeting the legal threshold of crimes against humanity. A panel of independent experts appointed by the UN Human Rights Council says. So now they're telling the truth. Now they're telling the truth. And their language is a global criminal enterprise doing crimes against humanity, which sounds very similar to what I've told you. It's a shadow government of moneyed interests, a cabal of pedophile, rapist, billionaire sadists who really run the world and view you and me as subhuman. And I've never been more convinced in my life that class politics is a factual truth. It's an objective truth that class politics is the end-all be-all. That extreme wealth rots your soul and turns you into a demonic entity based on what these people were doing. All right, but you got to see this one also. Found in the Epstein files, an audio file of a woman saying, "Kill them and dispose of the bodies." Huh? So this is on the Justice Department website, and I'm going to play some of it for you here. Let's listen.
No, you called me after the fact. You didn't call me when the fucking boat crashed. No one called me. Let's get that straight. Listen, I got the message from you midnight. Did it happen at midnight? No. Did anybody think to call me and say they're going to use the boat to come get some dead fucking deer? No. No, right?
No, you're right.
And now we're dealing with this shit. Look at the boat. Look at the man's boat. This is bullshit.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
You the head electrician. You like one of the head landscapers. I finally got you a gig as a boat captain, and this is the bullshit I'm dealing with. This is bullshit. Oh, y'all know better than this shit. This man is livid right now with us. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what. I'm so fucking cross right now, right? This fuck makes no sense.
Oh, extremely. Especially after that good success with eating.
This is just completely. This makes absolutely no sense.
This is what I got really pissed off about. I told both of these guys, I said, you want these dares, you wait for the morning. And then all of a sudden...
But that was the plan, to kill them, wait till daylight, and then we dispose of them properly. And then I get these calls and this bullshit happened. This is the man's crew boat. It's bad enough he don't have another boat. We don't have another boat. What are we going to use? A barge? How much money is that going to cost us to run the staff back and forth on a damn barge now?
Think about how what they're saying here makes no sense. So they keep talking about a boat, like there was some sort of a boat crash. So you hear that and you go, okay, maybe they're talking about a boat crash, right? But then they start talking about a deer. They go, the deer, like there's a problem with the deer. Well, if it's a boat crash, how the fuck can a boat crash kill a deer? Right? Like that makes absolutely no sense. And then they go, kill it and dispose of the bodies. Kill them and dispose of the bodies. What? So, I mean, steel manning them, it's like, I guess they're talking about maybe there was some sort of an accident with a car hitting a deer and the car is damaged and that pissed off Jeffrey Epstein and they're saying kill the deer and dispose of the bodies. But I don't know. When you get the repeated references to the boat and then they talk about deer and then they go kill them and dispose of the body. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm just giving you a little taste here of what's to come because these files actually get worse and worse. Jeffrey Epstein exchanged emails with photographer Antoine Verglas about a drug called scopolamine. According to the emails, it comes from the borrachero tree and a plant called angel's trumpet. Scopolamine starts working within minutes and removes free will, wipes memory, and can even kill. Scopolamine does not show up on toxicology reports due to it only staying in the body for 5 to 6 hours. Epstein had angel's trumpet plants in a nursery. In the email below, you can see where he is asking his worker to check on his angel's trumpet. This is literally what was happening in the movie Blink Twice. So Crystal brought that last part up to me, and my mind was blown. There's this movie, Blink Twice, where the plot almost perfectly mirrors what it seems like Epstein was doing here in reality. So my reaction to that is, you better find the motherfucking writer of that story and track them down and put them in this investigation because they need to be investigated motherfucking yesterday. All right? The fact that they wrote this movie and it's exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was doing in real life. So we have this basically like a perfected date grape drug is what we're talking about here. And he's casually discussing having this and the plant in these emails. So think about it, guys. Here you have the billionaire, grapist, pedophile sadist, right? And he's talking about, oh yeah, I got this drug that I can do whatever I want to whoever I want. And nobody would even be able to find out because it doesn't even come up on toxicology reports. This is the stuff of nightmares, y'all. This is the stuff of nightmares. Okay, but still now, I'm going to give you a warning. Everything we talked about to this point is disturbing. This is perhaps even more disturbing because it deals with redacted pictures, but pictures nonetheless. But here are some of the things that people have dug up in the Epstein files within the past week or so. And I'm giving you a warning again. You might not want to see this one, but let me go ahead and show you, okay? Pam Bondi saw this photo, one of many from the Epstein files, yet declared there was no evidence of crimes. She now says the DOJ has released all the files, even though we have seen only 50% of the files. And by the way, that's outdated. Apparently, it's only 2% of the files we've seen. She is a pedophile protector covering up for these despicable perpetrators. And this picture, ladies and gentlemen, it is redacted, it is a little bit pixelated, but it very clearly shows what is almost certainly an underage girl sitting on a toilet performing some sort of sex act on a guy. Okay. And we also happen to find, again, warning if you don't want to see this, there's a bunch of disturbing stuff here, this stuff in the Epstein files. All right. A lot of it is super pixelated and a lot of it is redacted, but you can get the general gist of what's going on here. Some of these things, it looks like they may be, adults, but there's clear examples here, maybe 3 or 4 different examples where the pictures are clearly it's kids, it's children. They're underage and they're naked and or involved in different sex acts. So I'm going to walk you through this here. As you can see, super redacted, but you get the sense some of them are fully redacted. My guess is that's just flat out CSAM and it's undeniable. But as I keep scrolling here, this one is clearly somebody bent over. This one, you can't tell the ages of this one, but we're going to keep going and you'll see somebody's private parts here. Very pixelated, but clearly somebody maybe underage, maybe not, showing their breasts. And, you know, again, I looks like what the DOJ did is they hyper pixelated it to try to really obscure it, and then they also redacted on top of it. I don't think that in the original files, these pictures were this pixelated, right? Unless what they did is these pictures were like around his house and they zoomed in from afar, which I doubt it. They've done that with other parts of the files. I don't think they did that here. I think this is just, it was not pixelated and not redacted, and they try to pixelate it and redact it. But as I scroll here, again, where you're going to win is, this is one that I think is for sure underage. This picture right here, this one to me looks for sure underage. It just doesn't give me adult vibes the way that this one is standing there. For sure, I think that's an underage one. All right, I'm going to keep going here. This one also looks potentially underage. Got two women here, a woman, potentially girl here. Keep scrolling. Yeah, this, don't even want to know. Oh, this one is definitely underage. This one on the left here is definitely underage. Jesus Christ. Oh, boy. All right. Going to keep scrolling. I think you guys get the picture here. Some of this looks like some weird magazine covers. This one looks underage too to me. Some of these look like some weird magazine covers. Oh, okay, I'm going to stop here, but I'm only on number 27 of 100. Basically, every picture is like this, where sort of a girl of an uncertain age, you know, and super pixelated and redacted. But this is all part of the Epstein files. And again, I want to reiterate, Pam Bondi said, there's nothing there. We can't investigate. We can't indict. We can't convict. We got nothing. And they remember when Pam Bondi said, was it Pam Bondi or Cash Patel or both said, oh, there actually are no Epstein files. And when from the Epstein files are on my desk, said there are no Epstein files. Really? What the fuck is all this? And what the fuck? The idea that they would insult our intelligence so much to the point where they say there's nothing we can do about any of this. You basically stumbled across Elite Sex Crimes Incorporated. Like, it's this massive pedophilia ring, child trafficking ring, and there's nothing you can do? I mean, now we're seeing direct examples in the files of pedophilia, and there's nothing? I mean, it is such an insult to our intelligence. So this stuff here is some of the worst files. It's right up there with the Harvard professor who famously said, I'm so happy I didn't kill anybody yesterday, in emails back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, it's right up there with the Sultan emailing with the Sultan, where Jeffrey Epstein says, hey, are you okay? Where are you? I love the torture video. It's right up there with some of the worst allegations of torture, of murder, and manslaughter. The girls buried in the desert in New Mexico by Zorro Ranch. Some of these things that I'm showing you here are right up there in that category. And it is immensely, immensely disturbing. But I do want to wrap this segment up with the following, though, because we can't forget that this guy also was one of the most connected men on the planet. That is not hyperbole. That is not an exaggeration. This guy had ins with so many different global elites and world leaders, right, and governments. And so Murtaza Hussain says the following. New, Jeffrey Epstein had deep economic and political interests across Africa, including in Nigeria. A year before his death, newly released emails show that Epstein was helping negotiate access to the country for Emirati logistics giant DP World, that's the Sultan, whose chief Sultan Sulayem resigned last week following ties to Epstein and documented in another recent Dropside news story. Years before those talks, hacked emails show that Epstein also was helping coach another close friend, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, as he built ties with Nigeria, including his attendance at a technology conference offered as cover for meeting with top Nigerian officials, while Barak pursued security and energy deals to advance both personal and Israeli interests in the country. Following similar operations in Ivory Coast and Mongolia that Epstein and Barak were pursuing at the same time, sales of Israeli surveillance technology offered an inroads with Nigerian leaders, but the real prize was developing access to lucrative energy and logistics deals in the country. Since Epstein's death, DP World has moved forward with major deals in Nigeria, while Israeli surveillance firms, whom Epstein and Barak also helped introduce to the region have steadily expanded their footprint. Full story with me and Ryan Grimm in the next post. You guys can go check out the full thing if you'd like. But you got to remember, guys, this is on top of proof that Epstein was, for example, working on a deal to bring Israeli spying technology to the Ivory Coast. That's just one example. He worked with all these different governments all around the world, sometimes as a representative for the Israeli government, sometimes working on behalf of other governments. He worked a lot on behalf of Saudi Arabia too, for example. There's evidence of deep connections with Russian intelligence as well. And so the thing that's perhaps the most mind-boggling to people is that, no, it really does appear to be a shadow government of pedophile billionaire elites that run the world. And they're sadists. Some of them are into torture. Some of them are into cannibalism. They are actually part of a clique, a club, a fraternity. And while they run the world, they keep humans like pets and do the most sadistic things imaginable to them. Okay? So immensely disturbing. Running a blackmail operation, a honeypot operation, also working with intelligence, also working with, elite technology companies building out this dystopian spying tech of the future. It doesn't get any darker than this, bro. It doesn't get any darker. And, at this point, both sides of the scandal are just monumental. His connections with world leaders and the deals he was involved in, but also the depravity and the disgusting nature of the sadistic pedophilia and child trafficking that was going on. It is just the lowest of the low. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.